Hi, everybody, and welcome to Jennifer's Open Book, where we don't believe in filters. Um, Today, we are going to be talking about flirting. We are going to discuss how we flirt and hopefully give you some tips on um, the best lines or lines not to use. Before we get into that, I want you to hit your subscribe button, your like button, leave some comments. If you want to leave anonymous comments, find me on Facebook under Jennifer Janelle, Jinnerfer, Jinnelle. And if you have anything that you want me to discuss on this channel, let me know. I will talk about anything because I am an open book. That being said, let's get it. We are being joined by Mr. Anthony Parker from Third Eye Visions. Hi, Anthony.
What's up? How you doing, Jennifer? Nice to be here.
How you feeling tonight?
I'm fully rest, fully dressed, and ready to bless.
So we're just gonna go right into the subject. I want to talk about flirting, and the reason why I invited you here is because I want to get a male's point of view on flirting because a lot of the flirting usually comes mostly from a male. Us women, we do flirt now. Sometimes when we pick up when we do get men, it's because we initiated the conversation or the relationship. But I love to get a male's point of view, and I want to know what's going on in your head. I like to know what men are thinking. So, how do you flirt? I want to first of all, I want to know how you decide what woman you want to flirt with.
Oh, it's a good question. I. Well, um, it just depends on the mood. Depends on her reaction towards what I say. Uh,
But how do you
some
even decide that you're gonna say something to a female?
um Usually, that's a good question. I don't know if because most women, I guess within it's a two-part thing. If I'm in a gathering where there's a bunch of them, the way they sound, unfortunately, because even though that's the case, I still be wrong. But you shouldn't judge a person by their outside appearance or whatever. But just the way they sound. Um, if I talk, if they're into me a great deal, if they're talking to me more so than the others are if maybe like they have a certain cologne, perfume on, and it smells really erotic or sexy, I will comment on that aspect. Now that's in a group, but if it's one on one, um, I would just ask questions, around about questions to get the answers that I need. Like, let's say if we working together, I'd mention, something that would get the response, like if she has a boyfriend or not. So mainly a lot of verbal cues, verbal enunciations and things like that.
So,
That
so
helps
verbal cues from the female.
from the well, as a whole within the conversation. If I were to say something, so that's how I actually do flirting, by actually talking to that person in a respectful but flirtatious type way.
So do you ever you ever walk past a female and you smell their perfume or you hear their voice? You just maybe in the store or just out and about and you hear a voice that you like. Do you ever just walk up to that female and kind of compliment her and start flirting with her? Is that
Now
something
that
that you ever do?
that I don't do. I really don't do that. I mean, I would say, if I'm walking with a friend, I'd say, well, she sounds very attractive. Or if I'm walking by myself, I say, well, she sounds very attractive. I never be the type that say, hey, come back, hey, come. Nah, simply because one, as a blind person, people are not sighted people are not apt to just responding, because they once they see that you're visually impaired, that's like either a turn off, or either they're a bit reluctant to say anything, and you can just hear in your mind what they're saying, like, who's that blind person? What he can't see. So you have to, in most cases, when you flirt, you have to kind of feel a person's out within the midst of a conversation. Now, as a sighted person, it's easier to do that because you can make that contact when you're flirting. That you say, "Oh, she's hey, beautiful, come here," or whatever code words you use. Come here, let me holler at you, something like that. And then that way you make that eye contact. You can tell immediately if that person's interested in things like that. So I'd say for a blind person, it's rather hard to actually flirt in that manner. But that's my opinion. That's a good question.
Now I do know so I actually know a couple of blind men who will be bold enough to do something like that, especially if they're walking with somebody. If they walk past somebody and they hear a voice or something, they'll act like the guys. They'll be like, "Hey, she sound nice. Is she with somebody?" And the person with them will be like, "No." And be like, "Hey, take me over there to her." You know what I mean? And they'll actually go over there and try to start flirt with her. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. So I wouldn't. And again, I can't tell you what to do. I know men, like I said, there's a lot of pressure on men as far as this sort of thing goes. But you have to go with confidence. You know what I mean? Don't be scared. I'm telling you, don't be scared to talk to somebody because you think that they're gonna react wrong to you being blind. If they do, just move on. Don't let it keep you down or anything like that. But like I said, I do know some guys who will go and like just talk to somebody like that, and that's
Well,
pretty cool. But you do what makes you feel comfortable. I'm just saying there are some people, just because you can't see, you shouldn't like not take a chance. You know what I mean?
definitely, and let me also come back on the back end of that. Not saying that, like, as I mentioned, that's something that I wouldn't do, in life, as I just basically touch on. There are different strokes for different folks, and yes, they may work if you and I don't know if it has anything to do with confidence, but it's just basically your approach. Let's put it like that: a person's approach, and I'm not shooting down what you said, but to each his own, and people have different ways of getting to where they need to be at by different approaches and things like that. And hell, I respect the person who does that type of flirting. I respect those who do it in a more subtle, is that a word? Subtle
Mhm.
type, just relaxed type way, and get what they need to get. So yes, that definitely is two ways to, like they say, skin a cat.
So I'm gonna tell you, my last boyfriend, I initiated the conversation. He's my ex-boyfriend now, but when we met, his cousin was flirting with me, and I was not attracted to his cousin in any way at all. But we were at a party together, and I heard his voice. Not me and the cousin. We were all just in the same party. But I heard my ex's voice. And I said, "Well, who is that?" And his cousin, he introduced him to me. And they always introduce each other as brothers. I guess they're like closer than cousins. So he said, "Oh, this is my brother, so and so." And I was like, "Hey, how you doing?" Like that was how I started speaking to him. And he said, "Hey, ma, how you doing?" And he looked at my cane and he was like, "You blind?" I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Wow." And that's all he really had to say. But we ended up playing a game together at this party called Taboo, and we were seated like um, male, female, like that. And
Mhm.
he ended up sitting next to me. So while we were waiting for our turn in this game and everything, we were talking. I started to talk to him, and it made him feel comfortable enough to start asking me questions. And we ended up really getting to know each other at that party. And once it was over with, he kind of walked away, and I was like, "Oh man, I thought that was going pretty good." He didn't ask me for my number, and he came back and he was like, "Hey, let me have your number so I can call you sometimes." I was like, "Yes." And
Mhm.
we ended up having a pretty decent relationship. We were together for about 3 years. It didn't work out in the end, but I'm the one who initiated that. So that's what I mean by, ladies, it's okay to flirt. If you hear a nice voice, it's okay. Like the worst thing that can happen is they could be like, "I'm not interested," or act like there or whatever. But and it hurts your pride, but pick it up, move on. Like you gotta dive back in. Don't let that one rejection be all rejection. You have to move
And you pointed out a great question. I mean, great point in terms of many people who are the aggressor. and they get turned down, it does hurt their pride. And it has not happened to me, but I've been around others who that has happened to, and they're like, oh man, he probably don't, she probably don't, whatever the case may be, don't feel me. But you just have to take it life with what it is what is offered. Everything's
Yeah,
not going to be
sometimes
all
you
peaches.
just,
So
I mean, you're not going to do it for everybody.
right,
I
right,
actually feel bad for the men. Excuse me, I'm sorry. I feel bad for the men that I reject because from what I gather, it it's difficult for men to approach me in particular, but just to approach someone who has a visual impairment or someone who's blind or any type of disability. It's difficult. They have to work up their nerve
yep,
to come and talk to you in the first place, and then for you to be like, no, I'm not dating right now, because that's what I'm giving away my secrets. But if I'm not interested in you, I usually say something like, I'm not dating right now, or it's okay. Like I'm always up for friends. So if you want to be my friend, like I'll be like, okay, well, let's be friends. Let's get to know each other, and that could, I can either begin to feel you or not feel you at all, and worst worst case scenario, you made a new friend. We might not be able to date, but I don't mind being your friend. And one example was this guy was telling my mom that he was interested in me, but he never said anything to me, which was a turnoff to me. Because I walked past this guy like all the time. He worked at Walmart, and it was just like, you could speak to me. You don't have to tell my mom. That was really a turnoff. So after months of him telling my mother how he felt about me, I walked past him and he said hello under his breath. And then I was getting ready to walk out the store, and he walks up to me and he came on way too strong. I like a healthy balance. I like a middle. So he comes up to me like, "Hey, my name is blah blah blah, aka Big Daddy, aka Big Sexy. What's going on?" Like he was too much and up in my face, and I was like, "You know what? I'm good." I'm good.
wow,
And because I could, like, I'm already turned off because you didn't talk to me in the first place. And then when you finally do, you just too much. And I was
in
going
your
to,
face.
yeah, and I feel like you are being over the top at this point. Like,
Hmm.
I like for you, if you're going to talk to me, I like for you to be yourself and talk to me like I am what I am. I am a lady. I am not a little girl. I'm not a teenager. Don't give me, I'm a grown woman. Don't give me a whole bunch of nicknames. I want your government name. Okay. Don't come up to me talking about, what's up, mom? My name Pookie. Okay. Because we too old for Pookies and stuff. Give me your name. Because I'm not calling you Pookie.
I feel you.
Okay.
I feel you. I
I'm-
feel you.
so that's how I feel about that. But anyway, that being said, I want to hear first, give me your best pickup line. What is your best pickup line?
Honestly, I do not have one, because I don't. I go with the flow of the conversation,
So when
and
you were younger, you didn't have a pickup line. You
no,
never got a pickup line.
I really I put down on everything I love and never. And reason why is because I want to mention that not being conceited, just show myself. I have a very uh very good personality. It's a lovable one, and it's easy for people to latch on. So with that being said, once I've exerted myself in that capacity, and women tend to gravitate, that's how I'm able to basically choose to see if I want to continue or just make, flirt with that person or go further. So I never had a line where like, my name is Anthony, what, blah blah. That, no, I never did that, and that's the honest truth.
Okay, I've gotten pickup lines, okay? And I think the cutest one I got was, I think I mentioned this on another show, I can't remember, but it was so cute to me because this guy walked up to me. He says, how do you use your phone? And I showed it to him. And he said, hey, how do I put my number in here? And I was like, oh, that's so cute.
Okay,
I
okay,
don't know why
okay.
that was so cute to me. Like, he knew he wanted my number in the first place, but he usually use the pretense of want to see how I work my phone, and I really thought that that was a really a cute pickup line.
You call that an
So
icebreaker. That's
yes,
basically
and
what.
that's what it was. It was, but it was so cute. And I've
Mm.
heard like my cousin, she hates for guys to do that. Like just ask me for my number. But I thought it was cute. I thought that was a cute way to like say, hey, let me give you my number or whatever.
Right.
The worst one that I heard, it was like the worst thing that anybody said to me, and it wasn't really bad. It was just annoying. Like, oh, this guy walked past me, and I was on the strip in Las Vegas, and this guy was like walking towards me, and I had on like this long dress, but I guess it was cut low in the front, and he was like, "Hey puppies, hey puppies." And he was like walking past me, like, "How you doing, puppies?" And I had no idea he was talking to me until my sister. I was like, "That man was talking to you." I said he was talking to my boobs. He was
Okay.
not talking to me. So I'm like,
Well,
that was
now,
like the worst.
yeah, it
But
was an icebreaker, but yeah, it was kind of a
he
bit
kept
sexual.
walking though. He didn't want to talk to me. But it was terrible.
Hmm.
This guy, he pulled out one of those old pickup lines from my cousin, and I couldn't believe he said this. It was probably about 4 years ago. We were visiting somebody in a hospital, and we were in the elevator. He said, "Did it hurt?" And she didn't even know he was talking to her. He said, "Excuse me, did it hurt?" She said, "What are you talking about?" He said, "When you fell from heaven, because I know I'm looking at an angel." And I just bust out laughing
Nah.
because I couldn't help it. And I wish I would. I'm like, I felt a little bit bad. But I told her, I said, he went to the bottom of the locker and dusted that off. I
Definitely,
cannot believe he pulled and he actually used it. Now
definitely.
I'm gonna end with my uncle's favorite pickup line. I don't think it ever worked for him, but he loved to use it. He used to tell women stuff like, "Girl, you must have washed them jeans on Windex because I could see myself in
Okay.
them."
I like that one though.
That was terrible.
I like that one. I like that
But
one.
we're gonna end it on that. I just wanted people to know, especially my VI and blind people, to know that it's okay to flirt. I know that we deal with a lot of confidence issues, a lot of self-esteem issues, but I always encourage everybody to go out, be bold, be you, be flirty, be fun, and everything else will fall into place. Don't let your visual impairment stop you from living. Be fun, have fun, live life. So that's the end of our show today. Before we go, Anthony, is there anything that you want to tell the people?
No, I just appreciate you allowing me to come on and definitely support Third Eye Visions and just enjoy this show because you're gonna get no filters on here for real.
None. What's
None
the
at all.
answer?
We don't know. Definitely.
So that being said, I said what I said. I meant what I said. I love you.
Okay.
I didn't even. Okay, I'm gonna call you back.